Hey everybody, this is Rustin Rose with Metalholic Magazine and Metal Nation Radio, and we are joined today by the amazing Schmier of Panzer and, of course, Destruction. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Doing the promotion for the new Panzer album, and also we have the Best of Destruction coming soon, so busy days at the moment.
Absolutely, and I didn't even get a chance to talk with you on the last Destruction album, but we have some time to talk today, and we have a great new album to talk about. Let's talk about Fatal Command, the new Panzer album. This is the first time you really got a chance to do some songwriting with your buddy VO. Tell us a little bit about what that experience was like.
Yeah, I mean, when we had the big decision, are we going to continue with the Panzer thing? VO Pulver was already the guitar player that helped us out on all the live shows as a second guitar player, and he also produced the main Panzer record, the first one. So we asked him to write songs. I asked him to write songs with me to see maybe we can, make this happen, because we produced so many albums together, and we have a lot of history together. We're friends in 30-something years, but we never fucking wrote a song together like a real official song. We did stuff together, but never like something that was major important. So it was a kind of a nice challenge, and what happened was we basically wrote Satan's Hollow. It was the first released Panzer song from a new album, like 8 months ago or so, as a demo cut. And we wanted just to see if it works. And I think the chemistry in life in general is important with everything you do in your job and all your tasks. And with VO Pulver and me, it was like we've been good friends our whole lives. We've been working together on productions, and it was actually very easy to write songs together because we have the same background, the same roots, and I still believe in the recipe. If you're good friends and musician, you write the better songs than being enemies. Maybe just for black metal, it's better to be enemies,
And you alluded to that a minute ago. You guys sort of got back to your new wave of British heavy metal and traditional roots on this album.
Yeah, I mean, we play this kind of music, heavy metal in general, so long, but we don't play the classical stuff. So now going back to the classical stuff is like a kid in a candy store. We go back and we play the stuff that we grew up with, the stuff before we were musicians, the stuff that mainly influenced us for all the rest of our lives. And that's of course the new wave of English heavy metal. The British stuff was super important to all of us. Yeah, it's not just the classic bands like Iron Maiden and Priest, of course. Priest was my main influence for many years, and it still is. But of course also the underground bands, that maybe didn't get so much recognition in the main media, but Angel Witch and Raven and Jaguar and More and bands like Tigers of Pantang, they were super important in our roots. And at the end, of course, just the big bands made the big success and the big buck and the big fame. But for us, that's much more than this, and that's what we're paying the tribute to. Also, some of the American early heavy metal bands were very important, like Metal Church. I think the first Metal Church album was, 83, 82? And it was very important for us because it had this classical heavy metal influence with a new level of musicianship. So we're trying to pay tribute to all of this. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. People are asking like, well, why are you doing this? It's nothing new and stuff. But hey, we write good songs. And if you like classic heavy metal, it's a great thing to check out, I think. And we're having a good time. I think that's the main important deal about this. We did the album because we like this kind of music. And of course, we're glad that Nuclear Blast signed the record and is finally also bringing it out in the States, because the first one, I think, didn't even come out in America. The first album just got imported only in the States. So I'm glad we are releasing this also in the States this year.
Now, you mentioned Judas Priest being a big influence there, and the first song that you and VO wrote is Satan's Hollow.
Yeah, that's I mean, if you pay tribute, you have to do it right. You gotta see that people have to understand right away that this is a song that pays tribute to Priest, and this is the one that pays tribute to other bands. And Satan's Hollow was our Judas Priest tribute. Of course, there's a little Maiden in there too and stuff, but it has the all the little Priest details that make Priest so great. And of course, we're doing it our way, but I think most metal fans, when they listen to Satan Solo, they will have a nice Judas Priest flashback without being a copycat. I think it's always there's bands that are fantastic musicians and they just copy something. We try to copy, but we try to pay tribute, and we try to bring in our own musicianship, and that's what Panzer. What's the fun thing about Panzer? Of course, people will love or hate my vocals because I'm not the classical heavy metal singer, but it brings in, of course, also a different little, flavor into the whole thing.
Yeah, and you talk about that Maiden touch, and part of the big Maiden thing, of course, being the dual guitars, and of course now you have V.O. Pulver in the band, and Pontus Norgren from Hammerfall. How did having them in the band change the direction of the new album?
The great thing was that when we knew we would go on, I said right away, let's do the two guitars, because heavy metal is two guitars, and the first Panzer album was written as a trio, which was great because in the heat of the moment, a lot of great new ideas came up, but we found out quite fast that we needed a second guitar player. That's when V.O. Pulver came into the concept as a producer of the album. He also became the second guitar player live for Panzer. And that was a good thing now. When we started recording a new album and writing it, we said we need two guitars, and that is actually the whole big difference of the first and the second album. The first one, we kind of stuttered a bit with the guitars. We didn't want to overproduce the guitars, and with the second album, we said, hey, this is British or old school heavy metal from the 80s. We gotta push the guitars, and I think there's a lot of twin guitars and double harmonies and double leads and all the little sexy details about old school heavy metal that make it so special. I felt very much pushed back into when I was young, and I had great fun. I had actually great fun kicking my guitar players' ass also to do more, because they kind of were like, come on, it's enough. And I was the one that was pushing them like, hey, we need more of those harmonies and those little details, because that's what makes this old school heavy metal so special. And I think hopefully people will hear the difference and see that this is we're trying to achieve.
What was the most challenging part of making Fatal Command for you?
I think the challenge is always that for me as a thrash singer, I don't want to sell my soul. I want to be Schmier, and it should sound like Schmier on Panzer also. So I don't want to stretch my voice to be sounding too clean or too melodic. It has to be myself. It has to have the balls. It has to have this sturdy voice that I have, And when we wrote the songs, I always had the melodies in my head, and when we finalized everything, I was very glad that we were all on the same level. That we, I could sing the song cleaner, and I could sing those songs more melodic. But then it wouldn't be me, Then you could just use another singer that is better as a singer technical wise and do it, But we wanted to keep the songs give this little dirty image also with my vocals that are not always perfect on the harmony and stuff. But Brian Johnson from AC/DC isn't either and stuff. It's the dirty rock and roll spirit that has to shine through those Panzer songs, and I think this was the biggest challenge to not sell my thrash soul and make the album a melodic album that has the original spirit of heavy metal. And we do all this because we love what we do. And, the scene is sometimes very limited. And I think we're very happy with the result at the end. That we just do what we wanted to do. And it's honest, it's true, it's real. And hopefully the fans see it the same way.
And this album seems a little bit faster overall, a little bit more relentless than the first one, to my ear. And it also feels like, and I don't know how I get this from the music, but there's just a feel to me that you guys had more fun making this one.
Yeah, it's actually true, because this time we had nothing to lose. It's a new beginning, and it's two new guitar players. There was no bad vibes involved. We just recorded and we just did what we felt like. I live the philosophy of if it's fun, you can hear it in the music, and it's just everything in life you do. If you do it with a good vibe in your ass, you just do it better, and that's the whole Panzer recording session and the writing session was this way. We were sitting together as some friends, we were having some drinks and some smoke and a good time and a good laugh, and that's how the album came back together. And if you had a session at the weekend that we had to record and we didn't have the time and the boss at the moment because we had other things to do, we just didn't do it because we wanted to do good stuff. We wanted to have good vibes, and I think that makes the whole album great because there was no pressure on the whole album. The first one had a certain pressure already because there was expectations from certain people in and out of the band already that this has to be successful and blah, blah, blah. But for me, I'm doing this not to be successful. I'm doing this because I like music, and if it's successful, it's okay, but I don't have to have something else than Destruction. Destruction is my baby, it's my life, But this is a great extra, and if I can have more fun with my friends, it's a great thing, and that's what makes the second album for me so comfortable, is that we just could sit together and just do it, just fucking do it and don't talk about it. It's let the music do the talking, I think, is the best saying of how the album came together.
Some of that fun with this album, too, comes across in the artwork, and you poke a little fun at the political climate and everything. Tell us how that all came together and what your thoughts are on what's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, the artwork, if you see the artwork, you think the album is so political, and it's not. The album has some political songs, but we wanted to also go back to the 80s in terms of the cover, because a lot of the covers nowadays, they're like trying to be art, and they don't look like heavy metal covers anymore. And some of the heavy metal covers look ridiculous because they have like silly painted Vikings on the cover. But we want to have something that is like 80s. And in the 80s, we had those covers that were, social critical and still had a lot of sarcasm and were ironic. And we want to have a cover like this. Yeah, and this is basically what the Fatal Command cover is all about. I was just surprised that by the time we did the cover, no other band did a cover like this, because of course it's the most common thing to put those four crazy world leaders that are in conflict at the moment on the cover in a funny way, And of course we were aware that we're gonna have some funny response from Trump fans and some people that have no humor. But I mean, we're playing rock and roll. In the end, it's entertainment, and entertainment should always be taken with a blink of the eye and not be so uptight. And it's funny that people are so uptight right now, and especially that we're living in critical times, people get more uptight, and I don't understand this. And that's why I'm writing songs about this. The album has some songs about being uptight about political situations and being like very much just thinking your country is right. And, would you go into war for your country? And why do you go into war for your country? Don't you think the world should be more united and instead of divided? And I know people in America sometimes think Europeans think too liberal, but I think we just think anti-war, because Europe got destroyed many times by wars and America didn't. So it's a different way of thinking about, taking aggression away from the world. And I'm trying to put this into my lyrical content. And sometimes people are like, "Oh, you're anti-American" and stuff. It's just ridiculous because our career started also in America, and we've been touring America so many times, and the American scene has always been important for us. So it's ridiculous to just think that we're just anti-American, but we're anti certain things, and we don't hesitate to say that. And that, of course, is sometimes nowadays a problem, because heavy metal should not be political, I heard lately on Blabbermouth.
Well, certainly things are pretty scary in the world right now, and it seems like over in Europe there's a lot more terror attacks going on.
But wait a second, Germany didn't have so much more terror attacks than America. That's what's on the news. It's like, oh, there's so many terror attacks. But, a guy that takes a knife and stabs somebody because he's Muslim and the other guy is Catholic is not a terror attack in my book, So where does it start? Where does the media make a terror attack a terror attack, And I think Germany or Europe in general is pretty safe. Of course we had problems, and those problems are, of course, because there's too many people coming from different countries into a different environment. But I wouldn't say Europe is not safe anymore. Europe is much more safe than America. For instance, if you look at the rate of homicides and killing, Europe is still not bad at all. But of course, the media make all this up to a big war, and that's the problem about the whole thing. And that's also stuff I write lyrics about. About how much we really know what's going on in our country. And I'm in the lucky position that I can travel the world. I can go to Russia, and some weeks later I play in America. And in Russia, I talk to people about Putin and about the political oppression in the country, about how much the religious aspect becomes more important in Russia. And then I go to America and I talk to my American people, and I find out what they think about Russia and about how they think about the new president. And it's super interesting for me as a citizen of the world. And that's what people don't understand. People think I'm a German. I write and I kind of criticize their life, and no, I don't. I see the world as a whole. I travel the world as a musician. I don't know how many people are able to understand what I'm doing. I'm in so many countries in a week. It's crazy, and I try to put this impact into my words and my understanding. And I think it's important that we see the world as a global, and we have to, the borders are ridiculous. But that's what our leaders want. Our leaders want us to have borders and to be, of course, you have to be American, you have to be proud of what you are and stuff. But hey, we're living on a fucking planet, and I think America just had a lot of bad circumstances when it comes to hurricanes and stuff that shows that we're living on one planet. We have to stick together. We have to save this fucking planet that goes down at the moment. And that's how I see the world. And that's how I write lyrics. And then it's quite funny that people attack each other about stuff that we should be agreeing with, and that's stuff that you see. And that, it's only this, your eyes will only open when you travel the world. If you sit in your little city, in your little village somewhere, if it's in Russia, in Germany, or in America, it doesn't matter. You will not open your eyes because you have a little point of view in your little village. But if you travel the world and see around and see a musician and you cross the borders, and it's a different thing. And I'm glad to be in this position. And I cannot change the world, but I want to just give a message to our fans. And I'm glad I can do this with my lyrics.
I would agree, absolutely, and I think it's sad that the media would like to keep things so divisive. One of the tracks on the album that you talk about technology, Afflicted, and technology can sort of certainly unite us globally, but at the same time, it sort of disconnects us and helps feed that divisiveness because people talk from the shadows on the internet. Everybody's more interested in their own 5 minutes of fame on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, Afflicted it actually started one night when I was watching TV, and I saw all those people that are trying to be actors. People are trying, those how you call it, scripted reality stuff. Why do you want to be a scripted reality star? Like, you look stupid on TV, and all the stuff is just ridiculously embarrassing. And I try to understand those people that want to have some fame and I don't know what is leading the world to where we are. Like, it's understandable that we lose the new technology and the new things, but why does everybody want to go further and beyond? And it doesn't make stuff better. At some point, it does. We have a lot of stuff that makes life easier, but on the other side, I don't want to criticize stuff that I use every day too, like the mobile phone and the internet, but on the other side I see stuff going down, and for me it's really difficult to watch TV. I know a lot of my friends, they don't watch TV anymore because they say TV is like the devil, but I understand their opinion because but I want to see the devil active. I want to see the eyes of the devil. So I still watch TV, and of course sometimes it freaks me out, and that's when I start to write lyrics about it. It's very interesting to see that my brother is like he was working for Amazon and some big companies, and he's like a real internet nerd and a real expert in those technologies. And he says to me that the TV as we know it will not exist anymore in some years. I think it's a very interesting opinion, and I can totally see this because what I see on TV nowadays has a very bad impact on humanity, because it's fast food, and it's trying to manipulate the people, and of course that's when the internet becomes more attractive. And then we have, of course, the problem that we all depend on mobile phones nowadays, and me too. I'm the same. I'm addicted too, but it's a part of the game, and then you write lyrics about like afflicted, like when you see everything you do is basically related on the internet and you cannot escape, and then they get pissed off, and then I write a song about it.
You wrote one of the tracks on the album, Scorn and Hate, about a friend of yours who's sort of going through his own personal affliction.
Yeah, it's Scorn and Hate. It's a song about once on the Headhunter. I wrote a song about a friend of mine that had a tattoo store called Silver Skull Tattoos, and we lived together, and he was a best buddy of mine for many years. And in the last years, he became more isolated and weird, and he turned schizophrenic just lately. And it's very hard to handle somebody that is schizophrenic because he doesn't believe he's schizophrenic, and you cannot reach him. In Germany, we have a rule that people, can do what you want. If you're crazy, it's not so easy to put them into the madhouse or something, because you have to prove that this person is really a danger to the community. And in Germany, we're very open for this. So I tried to help him, and I couldn't bring him into any help because I didn't want it. And that's actually very frustrating as a friend, that you seeing a friend being a different person and you can't help him. And then I write a song about it also. That's, I think that's the great thing about being a musician. You can somehow put stuff down, and in some years you can look back. Also, I'm hoping that my friend that has mental problems at the moment can at one point listen to the song and understand the lyrics and understand why I was worried for quite a while now. And it's very difficult to lose friends when they die, but it's so brutal to lose friends when they turn crazy and you can't reach them anymore. I never had this as intense as with this very close friend, and so it's a interesting and fucked up experience.
Awesome, Schmier. Thank you so much for taking some time to chat.
All right.
The new album from Panzer, Fatal Command, is awesome. You've got the best of or greatest hits of Destruction coming out. When will that be out? Do you know?
Destruction coming out on the 10th of November, basically a good month after the Panzer record.
Nice. So we're going to have great holiday gifts of metal in our stock. Thank you again so much for taking some time. I'll let you get out of here, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thank you very much for supporting, brother, and my pleasure.